Welcome back to the channel, everybody. After everyone has seen my super clickbait title and convinced you all to watch, what do I mean by am I leaving Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 career mode? And the answer is yes and no. One of the things it does very well is provide a plethora of activities for us to do, from banner towing, crop dusting, firefighting, search and rescue, etc. But I tend to think of them as that, just activities. Overall, there are two main problems, I think, with career mode. Number one, the economy is ridiculously stupid and broken. The idea that you're going to fly a couple boxes and generate $125,000 in revenue, but then when you look at your maintenance costs, it may have cost you $150,000. It's just broken. This issue came to a head probably about a month ago, where after every single flight, I would dedicate some of the revenue for maintenance. Yet, within the span of about 2 flights, not only did the autopilot stop working, the engine stopped working, and I went through about, I'm going to say $350,000 to fix the plane, wiping out good probably 4 or 5 hours of time that I'd spent grinding up for my next company. It was, as you imagine, extremely aggravating, but I probably could have pushed through it, except for probably, to me at least, the biggest problem. And that is the constraints it puts on you in regards to what aircraft you can fly and where you can fly. So if you want to start up a brand new light cargo company and you want to fly out of Alaska, South America, India, Asia, you simply can't do it. And very limited supply of aircraft that you're allowed to choose from. There's nothing inherently wrong with starting with the 172, but what if you want to fly around in the V-tail Bonanza, which is what I'm doing the B-roll footage in the background? Can't do that. What if you would like to, instead of using the Cessna 208 for your next plane, what if you want to use the King Air? Yeah, I really can't do that either. What if you just don't want to do general aviation and you're more interested in doing the airline stuff? Well, you're definitely not doing that. So what's the answer? Well, for me, it's using one of the several excellent career mode add-ons that provide a better experience. There are several add-on programs out there that have now worked through some of their issues regarding the switchover from 2020 to 24. Among them, OnAir, NeoFly 4, A Pilot's Life. So I have chosen OnAir. What is OnAir? Well, it's a career mode add-on that's simply made to enhance the career mode aspects of Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. It's an online persistent world and allows you to hire pilots and flight attendants. And this is very important, the persistent world part, because it's a more accurate representation of what actually happens. Meaning that leaseback contract you signed for your plane, that continues whether you're flying or not. That virtual pilot you hired for your company and you've assigned him to do certain routes, he will do them while you're away at work. No more are you going to hopscotch your way around Europe with your plane in one location and the job in another. Or, as I mentioned before, if you'd like to skip all kind of the general GA stuff and go straight to the airlines, you absolutely can. It'll give the option and enough money for you to lease back an A320 or a 737, though God knows why you would ever fly that. Or maybe the new 145 when it comes out. Really, the choice is yours. But I'm actually getting ahead of myself. Why don't we play the trailer and it'll do a better job explaining what the program is, and then we'll move on to setting ourselves up.
Welcome to OnAir Airline Manager, where the skies are yours to conquer. Dive into the ultimate aviation simulation, where players from around the world connect, collaborate, and compete. Whether you're starting as a small bush pilot or running a budding airline, the possibilities are endless. Lease your first airliner or rent a bush plane. The choice is yours. With over 2 million pilot flights logged from Microsoft Flight Simulator, X-Plane, P3D, and FSX, and 8 million AI flights, you're joining a truly immersive world. Navigate a dynamic economy. Manage airports, build fixed base operators, share assets, and hire a crew. From buying, renting, or leasing aircraft to tracking your finances, OnAir has the tools to help you grow. Explore a persistent MMO world that runs in real time. Manage charter flights, create virtual airlines, and develop custom routes. Whether you're delivering cargo, transporting passengers, or managing your very own airport, you can optimize every aspect of your operations. From thrilling bush flights in rugged terrains to long-haul airliner operations, OnAir offers it all. Bush flying will test your piloting skills in some of the most remote and adventurous locations around the world. With real-time flight tracking, custom scoring, AI dispatchers, and crew management, OnAir is the most complete airline management experience. Ready to soar? Experience a 7-day free trial, no commitment required. Join the active Discord community today and begin your aviation journey with OnAir Airline Manager. Your airline, your adventure, your skies.
Here we are on the main screen, and let's deal with the elephant in the room. It is not a freeware program. Here's their pricing schedule. I don't know what all the squiggly numbers mean. It looks like it's written in communist, but that's what the price you're going to pay. I do the 1-year plan. I think it's a pretty good value. Any of us that's been in Microsoft Flight Simulator for any length of time knows that the game is just the base entry fee. From that point on, it is peripherals, new aircraft, new scenery, better peripherals. It never ends. So I understand that this is a cost that some may not want to absorb, and that is completely understandable. There is, I believe, NeoFly 4, which we will look at a later point in this channel, I believe is a freeware program. But just to be upfront with everybody, this is what it's going to cost. And if you have the skills to translate that into US dollars, let me know in the comments below. Turning back to the main page, this is the list of the jobs that you can do in OnAir. Pretty extensive, right? Everything from good transports to undercover. Not even sure what that is. I believe that's new for 2024. Glider, I think that's also new. Could be wrong. I didn't really get too deeply into this in Microsoft 2020. But as I said earlier, I think one of the great strengths of the base career mode is all the various activities you can do. And there's a lot here that you can see that you can do. And I think they'll be adding more. Also probably worth noting is that Say Intentions and SimBrief are both integrated in OnAir. And I know firefighting, I believe, is already or has been released for Say Intentions. So just that there's a lot of things we can do here as part of the overall career experience. Just to touch on it real briefly, but we'll see it more later, there actually is a skill tree. So when you look up the top right, it says dangerous material or fragile right next to it. Those might require a skill point. It is a little bit of a tycoon game, but we'll get into that as we proceed. Back here on the main page, at the very top is the things that we're going to need. Number one, downloads. This is where we can find the client that we can install the game. I'm not going to walk you through that process. I'm sure we're all very capable of doing it. If not, I don't think any of us should be flying virtual planes if we can't figure that part out. Right next to it is the guides, tutorial videos, manual. There are a lot of content creators that have done really in-depth guides. The tutorial videos I've seen, haven't watched them all, are really good. As we proceed through the channel, I don't intend to make a super in-depth guide. I plan on just kind of learning as we do. And to be perfectly honest with you, I never got really deep into OnAir when I was playing Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Like a squirrel, I get easily distracted, and I kind of moved around to different things. But in this series, we're going to go through everything it has to offer in terms of establishing base camps, progressing through buying different aircraft, and that is the plan. The very first time you log into OnAir, it's going to direct you to form a company under one of three different rule sets. The easiest being Cumulus and the hardest being Thunder. The only difference really between all of them is whether you can use AI pilots or not and the difficulty of the economy. So I'd like to use AI pilots so I can continue to fly, let's say when I'm at work, and have a slightly more challenging economy from Cumulus. So let's choose Stratus to start the company. Here, we need to set up all of our company information. So I'm going to rejoin you once I got everything filled in. We'll talk about it, but doing it live with you guys is a little bit of a pain in the butt as my keyboard is one of those mechanicals and it's just a lot of clickety clacking that I'm sure you don't want to hear. So I'll rejoin you in just a moment. Okay, so rejoining you, I have filled out all the required information. Company name, Colombian Air Transport. Might be kind of fun to fly down to South America, help some of the local indigenous farmers as they transport their product to market. Airline code, you get to choose it. I've chosen Cat 9. We have my initials, my pilot birthday, not my actual birthday. We're close, but I am that old. And then the home airport, which is Cartagena, SKCG, and you say Rafael Nunez and size 4. And that'll be important later when we look at airports that we're flying into. But let's go ahead and create the company. Okay, this is the main screen when we log in. It will change here, and I'll explain that in just a moment. But the very top here, some very simple stuff up at the top: jobs, cash flow, the live map, any emails that come in, your flight log, settings. We'll go over that in just a second. Just below that, it's going to say no aircraft detected, Microsoft Flight Simulator. So this is a really good tip for you guys. As you get to this screen, go ahead and log into Microsoft Flight Simulator, which we'll do here in just a moment, and it will pick up the aircraft that you would like to fly. There's a pretty extensive list. I think about 1,400 different aircraft that this simulator has in its database. Instead of trying to manually choose through all of them, just go ahead and have the aircraft loaded up in the airport you want to fly it. So I will load up Cartagena in the aircraft I want to fly as we move a little bit further here. And then down below that, we see charters, regular routes, virtual airline, and tours. At the top, the gold coin shows how much money we have, which is 0 since we haven't done anything. And just to the right of that and below it, it says onboarding mode. Working as a freelance pilot to get more credits to start your company. So this is a brand new change to OnAir just implemented and it's to help new players acclimatize themselves to the game. What happens is you can fly as a freelance pilot and every dollar you earn, they will double it when you go into the advanced mode and create your company. But for now, let's just take a quick look at charters. We'll open that up. Now, as I mentioned before, it doesn't have an aircraft detected or an airport. So it doesn't have a list of things that we can possibly do. So why don't we exit back out here so I can show you the advantage of already being logged into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and selecting your airport, which should be your starting airport, in my case, Cartagena, and the aircraft that you would currently like to fly. Okay, now we're back and you see we're connected to the simulator. And when I click the logistics center, it's still empty, but now let's go to cargo and passenger charters. And now you see it's all loaded up with going from Cartagena, and now we have a list of various places we can go. Starting from the top here, we can choose all these different destinations. That's a fragile cargo. We can organize in by pay, right? Cartagena to San Juan. You might not be able to make it in this plane, but that's what it's going to give you. So that's the advantage of already being in there. And we'll see, though, when we move to the next phase and go through the advanced settings or advanced company and leave freelancer mode, having been logged in and being in the aircraft you want to fly will be much easier when we try to do a lease back on the plane. But for now, let's exit out of here. And I know I mentioned before earlier, you can skip this general aviation, which is kind of what the charters does, though you could fly around in the Vision Jet if you wanted to. You can choose anything on that side. On the regular routes, this is what mimics actual airlines. And what you do here is you choose a starting airport over on the right-hand side. Flight count, currently it's listed at 5, and nautical miles from 10 to infinite up there. And then you can choose an aircraft. And at that point, you'll be required to fly X amount of routes in X amount of time to get the most amount of money. I think it's about a week to get the most amount of money and experience points. So for the airline guys, that's where you want to go. Lastly, let's take a look at the virtual airline. This is where you could join other player airlines and maybe one day Colombian Air Transport. So from here, you see there's a list of airlines you and their size, aircraft they own, how many flights they've done in the last 30 days, some write-ups. So for those of you who would like to simulate maybe more of an airline experience or join your friends or create your own group, that's where you would do it at. And then tours is only in the advanced management mode. So what I think we should do is we'll go ahead and end the episode here. And in the next episode, we'll go back to charters. We'll choose a flight from Cartagena to someplace. We'll fly it. And then once we're done with that, we will go into the advanced management mode. So we'll show you that you double your income one time only. And we'll take a look at that screen. We'll also get into some of the settings you might need. Once again, this is going to affect our scoring, our XP. But for now, I think this is a real good start to our on-air career. If you guys have any questions, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Take care for now.